Good afternoon, Johnsburg Junior High School friends and families. I'm Dr. Pierce.
I'm Casey Grinshaw.
So welcome to our fourth edition of the Parents Peak. So sorry we didn't get this out yesterday, but we have a lot of information we want to share with you all today. So we are definitely glad and hopeful that you're able to watch today. So a couple things that we just wanted to reiterate. Right now we're between sports seasons, so we really don't have an update on sports, but we have a lot of participation. We're really excited about cheerleading and boys basketball. So those are getting ready to roll. So hopefully in future editions, we'll be able to share some good news about what's going on with those teams. Report cards will be live online next Monday, the 30th. So I know we've had a couple people ask, but report cards will be out next Monday. Also, next Thursday and Friday, we have our parent-teacher conferences, and that's November 2nd and 3rd. So you do have an option to sign out for those should have come out yesterday. You do have the option of in-person, which we prefer if possible, but we also know we have busy schedules as well. So that way we can do some online via Zoom or Google Meets as well. So we do have those options, and when you sign up, you can have those. Remember, conferences aren't always for the students that are struggling. If you have some great things to share, or we really want to talk about all the awesome things your students are doing, let's have conferences there as well. It doesn't always have to be with that struggle. Speaking of that struggle, as we know, a lot of you received an email yesterday about our interventions. That you were wondering why you received it. So I did send that email out by mistake. I was supposed to send it out to about 25 families. I accidentally sent it out to the entire school. So I do apologize for that confusion, but I'm kind of glad I did, just so we can kind of talk about our interventions. So when we have students that need some additional support in math and language arts, we do have, it's called our MTSS process, but we do have interventions where students can get those additional supports. We do use our MAP testing as a way to kind of diagnose, put the students on the radar, if you will, of who needs some additional help. And then we have some further progress monitoring testing just to make sure what we are doing for that intervention is working. So that intervention email that went out, like I said, it did go out in mistake, but a few families did ask, what does that intervention mean? And so that's kind of what it means. So it's really trying to help our students that have some gaps or have some struggles in math and language arts, just to give them some additional help. So again, apologize for that email being sent out. I know several of you were alarmed by it, but nope, a lot of things are great. And like I said, just because your student is getting an intervention doesn't mean they're a bad student, or doesn't mean, and I had a student say earlier that they thought they were dumb. Does not mean any of that. It just means we need a little bit of help, and we all need that from time to time. So that's what our interventions are. Also, I want to mention, let's dress for the weather. Today it's beautiful outside, but it is starting to get cold and rainy and windy, and the S word's coming soon, snow. So let's make sure that we have our shoes and students have coats. And if you do need help with any of those kind of supplies, if a coat or anything, please let us know and we can help you out with some of those resources as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Grinshaw to talk a little bit about SEL, and we'll go from there.
For SEL last week, we were working on time management. We talked specifically about a lot of homework assignments and how to get those turned in on time, and making sure we don't have missing assignments piling up. So maybe it would be a good time to talk to your students about how they're managing their time, how they're getting their assignments done, and maybe ask what they learned in that SEL lesson, see if they have tried anything new as we discussed as a group and shared some ideas. And I think some of our students had some ideas I never would have thought of. So I think it's great that the students were learning from each other on how to better manage their times and get their assignments in. In terms of PBIS, we do have our 8th grade student council hosting the escape room this Friday, the 27th. That will be right after school. So get on that. It sounds like a great time. I know I'll be there, so.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it sounds great. We have room for 100 students. We have 75 signed up. It's 25 PBIS points. So if your student is interested, it sounds like a great event. I want to thank the Reinhardts for putting that together. It'll be a really awesome event. So last thing, when talking about some things to talk to your students about that we kind of saw last year as far as behaviors, it's ratting versus reporting. Last week we heard the term snitch a lot. And students don't want to report things that are unsafe or not healthy at school because they're fear of getting in trouble, or they don't want to be a snitch. So really focus and talk with your students on the ratting versus reporting. So ratting someone out is just to get them in trouble, But reporting would be something that if they're seeing something that is unsafe or potentially dangerous, you need to say something. So it goes back to that phrase, if you see something, say something. But like I said, last week our referrals were down. We had a great week. So we just want to keep that positive momentum. And if you could help us out at home, like I said, encourage your students to report those negative incidences. So that's all we have for today. So on behalf of Mrs. Grinchuk and I'm Dr. Pierce and our entire school community here, have a great day, and we'll see you again next week.